This is a look at the biology paper 1 for June 2020. We encourage you to subscribe and look out for more of these videos to come. And to do that, a smart way would be to just click the notification bell so you are notified when we release more videos. So let's jump in to question 1. Which of the following features is used to classify a group of organisms as class Insecta? And we have size, shape, color, legs. And we know that insects come in various sizes, shapes, colors, but their legs, all insects have 6 legs or 3 pairs of legs. So D being the answer. Which of the following sample methods is most suitable for estimating the density of mushrooms in a garden? And we notice that capitalized word, most suitable. So it means that quadrat, line sec, belt transect, and mark, release, recapture are all applicable. We want to find the one that is best or the most suitable, and that will be quadrat. Usually you in school would use a 1 meter by 1 meter quadrat or a 1 meter squared quadrat to find density. That's a good apparatus. You know, you randomly throw it and then you calculate the density. Maybe if it was mushrooms, you would count the number of mushroom organisms and then divide by the area and the number of throws you did. Number 3, living organisms such as plants are affected by abiotic factors which determine where they become established. Which of the following lists some of these determining factors? Abiotic factors, these factors are not living, so we want to see which grouping from the answers provided has that, and the best answer is B. Sunlight availability, soil pH, minerals. All the others do have some kind of biotic factor in them. Parasitism, that involves living organisms. Predation, that again is a living organism. Deforestation, slash and burn, shift cultivation, those are not abiotic factors. Which of the following statements about recycling manufactured materials are true? Less energy is used in the manufacture of new products by using the raw materials from recycled products. That is true. Some manufactured products can be recycled. Recycling of some non-biodegradable materials prevents landfill sites from filling up too quickly for a long time. So all of these answers are true. So we are looking for 1, 2, and 3, which is Question 5 refers to the following diagram of a food web. It starts with phytoplankton, the following marine mammals being the top predator. Trophic level 1 is represented by phytoplankton, the start. So C is the answer. A farmer notices pink mealybugs in his garden. He is advised to introduce the ladybird beetle to control the mealybugs. The type of relationship between the mealybug and the ladybird beetle is described as predator and prey. The ladybird beetle is feeding on the mealybug. So 6, the answer is B. Question 7 refers to the following food chain ending with bass, fish. The organisms which receive the most and least, respectively, energy respectively in this food chain are: the most is the phytoplankton, the least is the bass. So we are just looking for the answer that gives B as the answer. Item 8 refers to the following diagram, which shows energy flow through an ecosystem. We started with the sun, the producers, the consumers, the composers, and its cycle. The energy flow is not 100% efficient because energy is lost during respiration and excretion. You have to remember an organism is living. While it's living, it's breathing out, it's excreting. That is waste matter being passed out. And also, like respiration, that's heat being lost. Hence, energy is lost along the way. 9, the greatest threat to the survival of coral reefs is increased ocean temperature. And living in the Caribbean states, which are small islands, this answer should be jumping out at us. Question 10, which of the following are effects of pollutants on coral reefs in the Caribbean? Less reef fish, that's true. More branching coral. Why would you get more coral if there are pollutants? So that's not true. Increase in macroalgae and seagrass growth. Yes, that's true. So 1 and 3, which puts the answer at B. Item 11 refers to the following graph of human population size over a period of time. We have the population going up and down over the years. Which of the following factors most likely account for the change in population size from 1980, this year, to 1989, which is this year? Increase in contraceptive use, epidemic of a deadly disease, and you notice this at most, right? Decrease in fatal crimes. And we are going with 1 and 2, because if you decrease in fatal crimes, then more people should be alive, right? So that makes 1 and 2 correct, which puts the answer at A. Question 12, when compared to a cheek cell, a muscle cell contains more what? A muscle cell contains more mitochondria, because a muscle is active and mitochondria is responsible for the release of energy. So this means we are into section B of the syllabus for biology, which starts off with cells. Question 13, which of the following organelles is directly involved in photosynthesis? Photosynthesis requires sunlight, and the organelle responsible for providing sunlight is chloroplast, C. Item 14 refers to the following apparatus. Setup shown below. We see a potato and has distilled water Petri dish. What can be done to cause the level of solution in the Petri dish to rise after 20 minutes? So you want this solution here to increase after 20 minutes, which means you need water from within the potato here to come into the Petri dish. And the only way for that to happen is that you need to add some salt to the water in the Petri dish, right? That will allow osmosis to occur and pull the water from on top of the potato into becoming part of the water of the Petri dish. So 14 is B. 15, a mature plant cell is different from a mature animal cell because the mature plant cell has what? A large permanent vacuole. Which of the following graphs show the effect of temperature on an enzyme-controlled reaction? Now we know temperature, enzyme activity goes up as temperature increases, but beyond the optimum temperature, the activity decreases, and we are looking for that. So you're looking for a nice curve, which puts it at D. So let's continue with number 17. The role of an enzyme is best defined as a molecule which increases the rate of a chemical reaction but remains unchanged at the end of the reaction. This is one of the properties of enzymes. They do increase, but within the reaction, they themselves are not used up. So it's actually best that A is also correct, increases the rate of a chemical reaction, but this is a better explanation of it. B and D are just both outright wrong. And we're seeing these questions are from the nutrition part of section B. Item 18 refers to the following longitudinal section of a tooth, and we have the enamel, dentine, the pulp cavity, and this here is the root, the part from within the gun. All of that is the root. The part on top where you see when you smile is the crown. So which region of the tooth contains a large number of blood vessels and nerves? Although this is a poorly drawn drawing, this should have an opening here to show the connection. They just closed it up, but nevertheless, it is C. Item 19 refers to the following diagram, which represents a metabolic process carried out in plants. The food produced is, we have water, we have light and carbon dioxide. Those are the reactants of photosynthesis, and the output is oxygen and glucose, which is B. Question 20. Autotrophic organisms derive their nutrition from, and we read the answer, water only? No. Complex organic substances only? No. Simple inorganic substances only? Both or inorganic and organic substances? No. Autotrophic nutrition, you're thinking something like plants. They make their own. Auto means self, trophic means feeding. So this is self-feeding, like plants, which uses simple inorganic substances only. Remember carbon dioxide, remember water. And if you're thinking, oh, water is organic, no, it is not. Water is inorganic. So C is the answer. Question 21. A 50-year-old male is advised by his doctor to pay special attention to the amount of salt in his diet. He probably has a high chance of developing. Salt is a very well known to be attributed to hypertension, high blood pressure, so C. 22, which is part of the respiratory system. So it means we are going into another topic, the respiratory system, for section B. Which of the labeled parts represent the ribs? Remember, the ribs form the rib cage. So it will be these little dots here, which makes it 2. B, the corresponding answer. Item 23 refers to the following equation, showing which Item 23 refers to the following equation, which shows the oxidation of glucose in cells. And that causes the release of energy. So this is aerobic respiration that they are showing here. The energy released from the process above is, don't mind the fancy words, you know that this is the respiratory system of organisms. That's the section. So that should give you a hint to where the question is pointing your answer to. So the energy released from the process above, this is aerobic respiration. Look, they use oxygen. This is glucose to produce energy. You may see this in the equation as ATP. All right, carbon dioxide and water. So the energy is released, read all the answers, and it is stored in high energy bonds in ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So the best answer for 23 is D. The questions get kind of fuzzy here. So we're just passing on. Let's try this one. In the transport of solutes in the phloem, the source is defined as an area of the plant where sucrose is taken up to the phloem or loaded into the phloem, which is C. Let's continue with 31, where it's more readable. Item 31 refers to the following diagram of a potato plant. Which part of the plant contains the most starch? And if this is a potato plant, we know these big bulbs down here are parts of the root that we like to eat, which you know that as potato. So there contains the most starch because the plant is storing its food in its roots. So we're just looking for 3, which is C. And we are ventured into excretion for section B. Item 32 refers to the following diagram of a mammalian kidney nephron. Which of the following correctly identifies the function of each of the labeled parts 1, 2, and 3. We have 1 being the Bowman's capsule, 2, that's the first convoluted tubule, 3, the loop of Henle is forming right there. So we have ultrafiltration, we have selective reabsorption, we have water conservation. So we are just looking for that, which is B. 33, locomotion is important for animals. To do what? Avoid predators, yes. For reproduction, yes. For assimilation, you mean as in nutrients? No. So we're looking for 1 and 2, which makes it A. The correct order of an effective nervous response is you have the receptor. It sends the information to the spinal cord or the brain and onto the brain and then back to the effector. So we are looking at D. Remember, you always have to receive the information first before you have an effect. All right, so just looking at this and seeing receptor at the start was the giveaway answer, or looking at it and seeing effector at the end made it correct. And the best description of the role of excretion in living organisms is to get rid of toxic waste. The best description, the best. Remember, urine is not the only type of waste produced in living organisms. Feces, well, that has nothing to do with excretion. Feces is egestion. Get rid of toxic waste. Yes, that's the correct answer. Get rid of excess water. That is just part of excretion. It's not the whole thing. So the best answer, which they made sure and asked you by this capitalized word, is C. Item 36 refers to the following diagrams illustrating the steps involved in an experiment. We have them set up here, and we have light for all of them. They are just changing the tips. All right, so one has foil, one has the tip removed, one is nothing. This one would be the control, actually, and the transparent cap on the fourth. After a few days, the tallest shoot would most likely be. And if we remember how auxins work, it is the one that will be covered and does not allow light to go through, which makes it 1, which is E. Item 37 refers to the following diagram of a reflex arc. A reflex arc. So we have A, notice B is here, C is quite down here, then D is up here. Which label structure relays the impulse to an effector? All right, the effector is the end where you're going to have your response, and the one that relays, that's what they asked you for, a relay, which label structure relays the impulse to the effector. It means you are choosing B as the relay. Item 38 refers to the following diagram, which shows movement in plants and animals as seen in a bird and a vine. We have bird that is flapping its wings and a vine that's growing up some kind of stick, kind of dowel. Which of the following statements about movement in a bird and movement in a vine is true? And after reading these answers, the entire body of the bird moves while a part of the plant moves. D. Which of the following best describes the term stimulus and response? Stimulus is a change in the environment, and a response is the reaction to the change or the reaction to the stimulus, which puts the best answer at D. Which of the following factors does not contribute to glaucoma in the eye? They are asking you for not contributing. And if we remind ourselves what glaucoma is, we will know that vitamin A deficiency, that causes night blindness, not glaucoma. Hereditary, stroke, and age, these are risk factors for glaucoma. So the one that is not is A. The function of the choroid layer in the eye is 2. And reading these answers, focus most light rays, prevent internal reflection, maintain the shape of the eyeball, control the amount of light entering the eye. We will go with B as the best answer. The choroid layer is very filled with, has a rich supply of blood to it. Had they given more answers, this may not have been the best one, but it does prevent internal reflection of the light that's coming through the eye. 42. Which of the following statements describe the process taking place within a seed during germination? Embryo uses food to develop radicle and plumule. Enzymes break down proteins into amino acids. Those two things do happen. Soluble products move into the embryo. That also happens. Which of the following correctly identifies the sequence of events? So they are asking for the sequence of events during the germination of the seed. So we just need to put 1, 2, and 3 in order. And if we do that, we know that the enzymes need to start their work first. So it means 2 is starting off first, and then 1 is the end. So 2, 3, 1, and that puts the answer at D. 43 refers to the following diagram, which illustrates a measurement of growth in living organisms. Which of the following labels would be incorrect? I don't think anyone can miss this capitalized incorrect on the y-axis. That would be time. All right, time is usually found on the x-axis. Item 44 refers to the following diagrams of 2 specialized cells. Which of the following structures is common to both cells? And we have what is an egg, and this one being a sperm. And if you recognize them, then you know both of them have a nucleus. These are haploid cells. Which row in the following table correctly states the cause, treatment, control, and prevention of the disease AIDS? And the cause, we know it is a virus, RNA virus. The treatment, you know, antiretroviral drugs. You know, the control and prevention is being faithful, and the prevention is abstinence. So A lines up perfectly for us. 46, which of the following forms of birth control is likely to be most effective? You want the best one, and that has to be surgical. Tubal ligation is the tiny tubes of a female. They use the fallopian tubes, also known as the oviduct. They snip and tie the fallopian tubes. Which of the following is the correct sequence of seed formation or fertilization? And we are starting off with an ovule, obviously, because we have to have fertilization. Fertilization is the fusion of the two gametes. So the ovule has been fertilized and it forms a zygote before going to embryo, then completing its journey of seed formation to form the seed, which makes it A. 48. A vector is defined as an organism that transmit disease-carrying organisms. Like mosquitoes, they transmit disease-carrying organisms. 49. Production of new organisms from one parent only is known as asexual reproduction. One example of a sex-linked disease, and this means we are into the last topic in section B, diseases. A sex-linked disease is color blindness. It is on the X chromosome, so it is sex-linked. 51 refers to the following diagram, which shows the stages of mitosis. And I hope persons are familiar with the stages of mitosis: metaphase, prophase, telophase, anaphase. All these are stages of mitosis, and they ask you for the correct order of the stages. And just looking at this diagram, you know that 3 is first and 4 is last. And you could use that as your hint. And you see 2 of them presenting with that, B and C. So you ruling out A and D right away. And once you go in between, you know that you see the chromosomes being pulled apart, they're being lined up here, and then they're being pulled apart. So you know that it's 3, 2, 1, 4, which puts your answer at C. On a certain Caribbean island where sugarcane is grown, a fungus is accidentally introduced into the island and destroys the entire crop of sugarcane. Which of the following best describes this occurrence? The plants were old and therefore more susceptible to the fungus. No. Plants were not of a hardy enough variety to withstand the fungus. No. The plants were planted too close together so the fungus spread easily. No. There was no genetic variation among the plants, so none could survive the attack. That is the best answer. All right, remember, sugarcane can propagate by you just breaking off pieces and sticking it. And if we are paying attention, that is asexual reproduction. So they're making clones of themselves, which means once condition changes, they will be destroyed as well. Let's go to 53. Which of the following is not a characteristic of meiosis? A little fuzzy here, but we can still make things out. Maintenance of the diploid number, that is absolutely not true. We don't even need to read the others. Albinism is caused by recessive allele. 2 normal parents produce an albino child. This is because both parents are heterozygous for the gene because it's a recessive. So in order for them to have the recessive and be normal, it means they have to be heterozygous, which makes the answer B. Variation in a population is due to mutation, yes. Crossing over, asexual reproduction, no. So we're looking for 1 and 2 only, which puts it at A. 2 goats heterozygous for fast growth rate are crossed. What percentage of the entire F1 population would be expected to possess homozygous alleles? Remember, there are 2 ways things could be homozygous. You could be homozygous dominant or homozygous recessive. And if you do a hetero cross, meaning both parents are heterozygous, then it means you have a 25 plus 25 chance of being homozygous. 25 for homozygous dominant, 25 for homozygous recessive. And when you put both of them together, 25 plus 25 equals 50%. 57, a man with blood group A married a woman with blood group B. They produce 2 children with blood group AB. The alleles A and B are described as being codominant or incomplete dominant. And they have codominant present here. 58. Which of the following is true about natural and artificial selection? Natural selection produces organisms well suited to the environment. We all may know this as survival of the fittest. And artificial selection, it means man is doing the selection, produces a different organism from the natural population. Think about our domesticated dogs. Those very small breeds of dogs, would they survive in the wild? It's not reasonable to think that they would not. So C is a good answer. 59, a group of closely related organisms that are able to interbreed and produce fertile offspring is called a species. Which of the following refers to visible characteristics of living things? Visible meaning manifested things that you could see, and that is known as phenotype. And this brings us to the end of the 60 questions for this paper 1, June 2020. Do let us know how you fared in the comments, and do make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you can be updated when more videos are released.